Hello and welcome to Yoga with Glenn. I'm Glenn. To celebrate my anniversary on YouTube, I'm redoing my very first video, which was shot on a cell phone from not a very great angle. So to celebrate, I'm just redoing this flow. It might not be exactly to a T, but hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it gets a little more views than the first one. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It helps out a lot. Hop into something comfortable, hop on your mat, and let's get started. To begin this anniversary flow, let's start standing here in Tadasana. Even pressure in the feet. Imagine a 3-point of contact on the feet, just behind the big toe, on the outer edge of the foot, and on the heel. Nice even pressure, not too much on the toes, not too much on the heels. A lot of energy here in the legs, nice and strong in the core. Don't have to really squeeze anything, but just be nice and strong there, nice and open in the heart space, but not crunched up in the shoulders and the back. Be open there too, sort of a very proud stance. Level chin, gaze is forward and slightly up. Arms at your side, either palms facing out or palms facing in towards the body. Inhale and exhale. This will be sort of a slow flow today. Still breath to movement, but it'll be a little bit slower. So nice, long, fulfilling inhales. Filling the belly, ribs, and chest. And then either exhale through the nose with the tongue pressed on the roof of the mouth, or just exhale through the mouth. Whatever you prefer. I prefer Ujjayi breathing, which is that tongue pressing the roof of the mouth, inhaling through the nose, restricting the airway in the back of the throat, and exhaling out through the nose again. So let's inhale, circle the arms up, and exhale, dive forward into a standing forward fold. Have a good bend in the knees here, rest the torso against the thighs. Since this is the first one, let's warm up that lower back, warm up the spine, warming up the hips a little bit. Inhale for a halfway lift, nice and long in the back, making sort of a 90-degree angle with the body, extending through the crown, the top of the head, and exhale, fold. And inhale, rise again, circle the arms up, touching the palms overhead, and exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Load up into the knees, drive the hands and arms forward and up, a slight back bend, and then dive straight forward into a standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. And inhale, rise, circle the arms up. Touch the palms overhead and bring the hands down to heart center. Load up into the legs once more, circle the arms up. Back bend a little bit deeper this time, and then exhale. Any kind of fold you like, any kind of variation with the arms into a standing forward fold. Each of these standing forward folds, try to get a little more straight with the knees, but if you need to rest the torso against the thighs with a bend in the knees, please do so. Inhale, halfway lift, palms on the shins or just above the knees. And exhale, fold. And inhale, rise, circle the arms up, touching the palms overhead, and bring the hands down to heart center. Now I'm going to turn, face the correct way on my mat, bring the feet to touch, big toes to touch, inner ankle bones to touch. Inhale, hands and arms up, and then exhale. Dive forward into a standing forward fold with those feet together. Plant the hands on the mat. Step back with the left leg into a low lunge. Rise up in your low lunge, shoulders stacked over the hips, hips pointed straight. Inhale and then exhale down. Hands on the mat. Table posture. Inhale for high plank. And then exhale, knees, chest, chin touching the mat. And inhale for low cobra. Release that knees, chest, chin. Press the shoelace side of the foot on the ground. Inhale for low cobra. Hands might float off the ground, they might not. But raise the chest, raise the chin, and then exhale down. Press yourself into table posture, and then exhale back for downward facing dog. Inhale, three-legged dog, lifting the right leg, and exhale. Step that through for that low lunge. Inhale, and exhale down. Plant the hands, step forward, feet together into that halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and then inhale, rise. Circle the arms up, touch the palms overhead, and bring the hands down to heart center. Load up into these knees a little bit. Drive the hands up, slight back bend, and then dive forward. Standing forward folds. Plant the hands on the mat. Step back with the right leg this time. Right knee to the mat. Rise up, low lunge, either arms up or arms down by the side. Exhale, down, hands to mat. Table posture. Inhale for high plank, feet together. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Release the feet, release the toes, shoelace side of the foot on the ground. Inhale for low cobra, pressing down with the feet. Hands may float, they may not. And exhale down. Inhale for table posture. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Gotta remember feet together here. Inhale. Lift the left leg, three-legged dog. And exhale. Step that through between the hands. Drop the back knee. Inhale for low lunge. And exhale down. Inhale. Step the back foot forward into a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. And inhale, rise. Circle the arms up, touch the palms overhead, and bring the hands down to heart center with an exhale. That sun salutation with the knees, chest, chin variation in the low lunge is a classical hatha style of sun salutation. Now we'll do a more traditional style. Still load up into the legs, into the knees, drive the arms up, back bend, push the hips forward, and then exhale, dive. Fold into a standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Plant the hands, step back with the left foot. Try to keep this knee straight. Set yourself up for high lunge this time. Inhale, high lunge, arms come up, palms face each other. The ribs, try not to flare them out. Try to stay nice and straight and stacked, keeping this back knee straight. And exhale, down, hands to mat, stepping back to high plank. Shift forward and lower down, not quite all the way to the ground. This is Chaturanga Dandasana. And then lower all the way down. Flip the toes, flip the feet, shoelace side of the foot on the ground. And let's press ourselves up into high cobra this time. Knees still on the ground, hips off the ground, lifting the chest and chin. Shoulders back and down, and then exhale. Down. Inhale either to table or push straight up into high plank. Exhale. Downward facing dog. And with an inhale, lift that right leg for three-legged dog. Exhale, step that through. And with an inhale, we'll rise up into high lunge. Exhale down, hands to mat. Step the back foot forward, feet at hip width apart. Into a halfway lift with an inhale. And exhale, fold. And inhale, rise, circle the arms up. Touch the palms overhead and bring the hands down to heart center. Load up into the knees, into the legs. Drive the hands and arms up, back bends, and fold. With an exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, go long in the spine, extend through the crown, and exhale, fold. Hands planted, stepping back with the opposite leg, the right leg for me this time. Preparing yourself for that high lunge, and when you're ready, inhale, rise up, high lunge. Remember the ribs, arms, palms facing each other, nice and strong. And exhale, fold, plant the hands, step that left leg back for a high plank. Chaturanga vinyasa this time, shift forward, lower down, not all the way to the ground, flip the toes. Rise up for upward facing dog with the knees off the ground. And then exhale, flip the toes, and then press the hips up and back for that downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the left leg for three-legged dog. And exhale, stepping that through, setting ourselves up for that high lunge again. And when you're ready, inhale, high lunge. And exhale, down. Hands to the mat, stepping forward with an inhale into a halfway lift. And exhale, down, fold. And inhale, rise again, circling the arms up, touching the palms overhead. And bring the hands down to heart center. In this Anjali Mudra, this hands at heart center. A breath here, collect yourself, load up again. Drive the arms forward and up with the back bends, and then exhale down. Plant the hands, step back into table posture. Bring the knees wide on the mat, shoelace side of the foot on the ground, big toes to touch. And then sink the hips back towards the heels into a child's pose. If you need to release some heat, this is a great time to do so. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. We'll get that heat out of the body. Take some breaths here. Anytime any practice is too much for you, make your way down here into child's pose. That will give a good cue if you're at a live in-person session. That'll give a good cue to the teacher that maybe she's pushing a little bit too hard, or he. Now some more breath to movement here. From this child's pose, we're going to inhale to a table posture, and then exhale back into a downward facing dog. Inhaling, table, and then exhale, child's pose. Inhale, table. You can play around with where the knees are, where the feet are on the mat. If you want to do a wide downward facing dog with an exhale. Inhale, back to table. Maybe a wide-legged child's pose, or if you want to try the opposite, keep the feet close together as you inhale, table, and then exhale, press back into downward facing dog with those feet close together, and then same thing on the way down. Inhale, table, and then exhale, feet close together, down on the mat, thighs touching, shins touching. Inhale, table posture, and stay here unless you feel like you need another round or two of that child's pose, table, downward dog. But if you're following along, inhale, extend the right arm out to a T. Inhale again, come up with this twist, and then we're going to thread the needle, but we're not going to quite touch the ground yet. We're going to thread this needle, thread this arm through, not quite touching the ground, exhaling, and then inhaling, coming back up for that twist. We're going to do another round before we do the full thread the needle, exhale, dip that shoulder down a little bit more, get a little closer to the ground, and then inhale back up. real thing this time, all the way to the ground. Exhale, threading that needle, making sure that shoulder is lying on the ground or something. If it doesn't quite reach the ground, if you're maybe here somewhere, if you're really tight, grab a bolster, blanket, pillow, anything you need to put under this shoulder, as long as it's resting on something. This hand, you can either leave it in front of the face, you can take a bind behind the back, you can move it forward onto the mat. This back leg, you can kick it back, your left leg if you're following my lead. Same side you're looking at, you can kick that leg back. You can bind, do both, or you can just simply stay here in this thread the needle and breathe. Lots of variations to play around with. If you've chosen one of the modifications and you don't quite like it, you can always try something else. Still time. We still have a few more breaths to go here. After your next exhale, inhale and slowly, well, if you return your hand in front of your face first, but slowly press yourself up, unwinding, unthreading, taking that counter twist. Big inhale and then exhale back down to a neutral table posture. Inhale, left arm out to a T, and then keep inhaling. Take that stretch all the way up, and then we're going to do 2 kind of practice rounds, getting close to the ground, and then the third, the final thing. So let's exhale, threading that needle, dipping that shoulder. Inhale, twisting back up. Exhale, again, thread that through, back of the hand, very close to the ground here. Inhale, twisting. And exhale, real thing this time, all the way to the ground, threading that needle. Remember, if you need something under this shoulder, please make sure you put something under it if it's not quite touching the ground. Make yourself comfortable with a blanket, pillow, bolster, whatever you need. Side of the head on the ground, chin falls towards the chest. And remember your modifications. You can move this support hand up. You can straighten this arm all the way. You can take a bind. You can leave it where it's at. Or you can kick this right leg back, the same side leg that you're on. Or you can just stay in this sort of neutral thread the needle. Nice fulfilling inhales. Exhaling, letting everything go. Another breath or 2 to go here. After your next exhale, return your hand, palm down on the mat just in front of your face, and then with an inhale, press yourself up and unwind, taking that counter twist. And exhale down, back into a neutral table posture. Bring the knees to touch. Bring the feet to touch, shoelace side of the foot on the ground, and sit back on the heels, coming into hero's pose. Hands stacked in the lap. Nice and tall in the spine, open in the heart, level chin. And with an inhale, arms come up. Grow nice and long, and then take a twist over to the left side. The right hand on the left thigh, left hand on the ground behind you, just as a kind of kickstand, a little bit of support. Chin falls towards the back shoulder. And with an inhale, chin to front shoulder. And exhale, chin to back. And with an inhale, arms come forward and up. And exhale, take that twist to the opposite side. Left hand on the right thigh. Right hand on the ground behind you. Chin falling towards the back shoulder. And with an inhale, chin to front shoulder. And exhale, chin to back. Inhale, arms come forward and up. And exhale, hands to mat. We're going to switch our feet, tucking the toes, sitting back on the heels. Bring the hands, clasp them in front of you, stacking the fingers, pushing the palms away with an exhale. And inhale, back into the chest, and then exhale. Push away about from chin height. Inhale, back to the chest, and then exhale. Really pushing the shoulders forward, pushing away from about nose height. Inhale, hands back in. Exhale, pushing away about from eye height, a little bit higher, really pushing the shoulders forward, wrapping the shoulder blades around the rib cage, and with an inhale, back to the chest. Exhale, about a 45-degree angle, really pushing away, reaching. And inhale, back to the chest. And then inhale, straight up, straight above the head. Really reach as high as you can. And then exhale, release. Hands back, come back down to the mat, swing the legs forward, come down to a cross, come down to this easy cross-legged seated position, or Sukhasana, as it's known in Sanskrit. Inhale, arms come forward and up, and then exhale, we're going to take those twists again. Placing one hand on the knee, other hand behind you, chin falling towards the back shoulder. And with an inhale, chin to front shoulder. And exhale, chin to back. Inhale, arms come forward and up. And then exhale, take that twist to the opposite side. Inhale, chin to front shoulder. And exhale, chin to back. Inhale, arms come forward and up. And then fold forward, rolling over the knees if you're able to, into table posture. Find your neutral table posture. Adjust whatever you need to adjust here. And when you're ready, tuck the toes. Press yourself back into downward facing dog. Lift the left leg for three-legged dog, and then exhale, tiger pose. Bring the knee to the chest. Keep the toes off the ground, really pressing away from the earth. And inhale, back to three-legged dog. Exhale, tiger pose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, real thing this time. Bring that foot all the way through. Switch the back foot so the toes face towards the side of the mat. Front toes pointed forward. Knee or shin angle should be nice and straight. And when you're ready, rise up into Warrior Two, really extending through the arms. Shoulders stacked over hips. Nice and open in the hips here. Probably should have done this on the other side so you could see it, but here we are. Now you find your warrior, gaze over these front fingers, and then inhale, reverse your warrior, curling this arm up, staring up at these fingers. This hand can either slide down the leg, or you can take a bind behind the back. Still keeping this nice, deep warrior stance with the legs here. And then exhale, shift forward, elbow comes inside of the thigh, or you can rest the forearm on the thigh. This other arm comes up and you're forming one straight line from this wrist down to this ankle. This is extended side angle, or you can press this elbow against this thigh and sort of open yourself up a little bit more. Inhale back up to warrior two, extend this front leg, and exhale, and then inhale, reverse triangle now. Now that our legs are straight, this forms more of a triangle. Same thing with the angle, one angle from this wrist all the way down to this ankle down here. Inhale, come back to center, arms straight, really reaching these arms apart, shifting forward as far as you can, and then revolve into revolve triangle. Nice straight, still reaching apart with these arms. You can either rest this arm on the shin, or rest this hand on the shin, or you can let it float there, really extend yourself. Inhale, rebend, come back to center, rebend this knee, windmill the arms down, turn the back foot, keep the right hand planted on the mat. Inhale, take a twist, raising the arm, take a twist over this bent knee, gazing up at the fingers, and then exhale, down, stepping back into high plank, shift forward, lower down, chaturanga vinyasa, flipping the toes. Upward facing dog for me, but if you like to take a high cobra or low cobra, you're more than welcome to. Flip the toes and then exhale, hips come up for downward facing dog. Pressing through the earth with the hands, making the A shape with the body, pressing the chest towards the thighs, not scrunching up in the neck. Have space between the neck and shoulders, ears and biceps. Now that you've caught up here, let's raise our right leg for a three-legged dog, and then exhale, tiger pose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, tiger. Inhale, three-legged dog, and then exhaling all the way through this time, foot between the hands. Set yourself up for that warrior two while you're down here nice and low. The front heel should be in line with the middle of the back foot. Should be a nice wide stance. Back toes pointed to the side of the mat. And when you're ready, rise up into warrior two. It's the side I should have started on probably to explain everything, but that's okay. Here we are. Reaching apart with the arms, shoulders stacked over hips, nice and wide through here. Straight leg, nice bent knee, should be a 90-degree angle. And with an inhale, reverse your warrior, roll back, bent arm, gazing up at these fingers, taking this bind back here, or just sliding this hand down. Exhale, shift forward, extended side angle. I like to really open my shoulders with this elbow down here, but if you like, you can simply rest the forearm here. As long as you have a nice angle from this wrist down to that ankle. Inhale, back to center, warrior two. Straighten this front leg. Take an exhale, reset yourself. Now that you're here in triangle pose, let's reverse our triangle with an inhale. I like the bind, but if you like it, you can just slide this arm down this leg. Nice straight angle from this wrist down to this ankle down here. And then come back to center, shift forward, and revolve into revolve triangle. Gazing up at these fingers. Inhale, back to center, rebending in this front knee. Windmill the arms down to the mat, plant that left hand, and then inhale, take a twist over this bent knee, gazing up at these fingers. And exhale, down, plant the hands, step back to high plank, shift forward, lower down, chaturanga vinyasa, flow through, either upward facing dog, high cobra, or low cobra. And then press yourself back into downward facing dog. Let's lift the left leg for three-legged dog. Bend at the knee. Gotta scoot over for this one. Open the hip up. Draw some circles with the knee if you like. And then let this foot fall back as you open yourself up for Wild Thing. This arm extends overhead. This leg straight. This one bent, supporting. Look to where your hand's going to go on the mat, and then twist back around, back into downward facing dog. Same thing, opposite side. I'm going to shift myself over just a little bit. Inhale, three-legged dog on the right side. Bend at the knee, open the hip. Draw some little circles if you like before we open up into Wild Thing. Same thing, extending this arm overhead. Pressing the hips up like you would for bridge pose. And then look down at the mat where your hand's going to go. Plant the hand, twist the body back around. And then bring the knees to the mat wide. Adjust your clothing if you need to. Bring the big toes to touch. And sink the hips back into a much deserved child's pose. Really feeling that heat now, so if you need to, nice long inhales through the nose and then exhale through the mouth, letting that heat out of the body. Be here for a couple breaths, so feel free to make your child's pose a little more comfortable if you like. Place something on the knees or between the back of the shin and the back of the thighs. After your next exhale, inhale, press yourself back up to a neutral table posture. Knees hip-width apart. Same thing with the hands. And begin to walk the hands over to the left, keeping the knees where they are. Just keep walking your hands over till you feel some length into the side body. Trying to keep the hips where they are. We're just twisting here. And slowly walk the hands back with an exhale. And then when you start to shift over to the other side, inhale. Start to feel this nice length here in the side body. Take a breath here, knees pointed straight still. And then exhale, walk the hands back towards the middle. Bring the knees to touch. Sit back on the heels, shoelace side of the foot on the ground. Bring the hands behind you. Clasp the fingers behind the back. Press the palms away. Open the heart space here. Inhale, grow long, and exhale. Fold forward, trying to bring your forehead to the mat. If it doesn't quite work out for you, just try your best. Inhale, come back up. When the hands touch the hips, release. Inhale, arms come up. And then exhale. Shift back, forward into table posture. Tuck the toes if they're not already. And with an exhale, press yourself back into downward facing dog. Walk the feet towards the hands and the hands towards the feet until you meet yourself in the middle in a standing forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale. Fold and inhale, rise. Circle the arms up. Touch the palms overhead and bring the hands down to heart center. Now turn to face sideways on your mat. Come nice and wide with the feet, about as wide as the wrists can stack over the ankles, if you're able to do so. Edges of the feet should be parallel with the edges of the mat. Almost going to feel like you're bringing your toes in. This way your foot's nice and straight on the outside. If anything's painful for you, adjust yourself so it's not. And then again, we're going to clasp the hands behind our back. Inhale, grow long, and then exhale. Hinging at the hips, folding forward in this wide-legged standing forward fold. Inhale, come back up. When the hands touch the hips, release and bring the arms up for star pose. Inhale, grow long, and then exhale, hinging at the hips. Forward fold in this wide-legged standing forward fold. Leave one hand down on the ground, fingertips just under the nose. Extend one arm out to a T, and then inhale. Take a twist, really wringing yourself out. And exhale down. Opposite hand in front of the, just below the nose on the ground. Opposite arm out to a T, and then inhale. Twist, trying to gaze up at those fingertips if you're able to. And exhale. Down, hands to mat. And just let yourself hang in this wide-legged forward fold. Nice deep breaths. If you want to intensify this, you can take the hands underneath you, fingertips facing away, and sort of claw at the ground, trying to intensify this forward fold. When you're satisfied with that, come back to a neutral fold. Bring the hands to the hips, thumbs facing in towards each other, fingers wrapping around the hips, and then hinging with an inhale. Come back up to center. Slowly walk the feet in till you're at the middle of your mat. Turn facing forward. Walk towards the front, feet hip-width apart, into Tadasana, or mountain pose. Bring the hands to touch at heart center. Bring the feet to touch, big toes, inner ankle, calves, thighs. Zip everything up in the legs. And then we're going to sink back into our chair pose, almost like you're sitting down in a chair. Keep the hands at heart center here. In the ribs, trying to let them flare out, try to knit them in, staying nice and strong in these lower abs. Inhale and then exhale. Start to twist to the left side, maybe locking this elbow in between the thighs, trying to keep the knees pointed straight. Don't let this knee fall back, but stay nice and strong in the legs. Pressing on these palms, trying to open yourself up as much as possible. Inhale and exhale, and then inhale, unwind. Extend the legs, extend the arms, and then back down into our chair pose. And inhale, make sure everything is set, and then trying to keep the knees pointed straight. Take a twist to the opposite side, locking in that elbow between the thighs, or if you can, on the outside of the right thigh. And then really press yourself apart with these hands. If you feel comfortable with this, you can extend at the elbows, opening yourself up for this low chair twist. Reconnect the hands at heart center. Inhale, come back up, straighten, extend, back bend, and then dive forward, flush, fold, forget, step back into high plank, shift forward, lower down, chaturanga vinyasa, flow through, meet me in downward facing dog.
Take a second here in your down dog. Maybe if you want to pedal the feet out, that's fine. You can do so. Play around. Maybe take a small twist, dipping your hips to one side or the other. Whatever you like. Once you've gathered yourself, look forward between the hands. And with these little baby steps, just walk yourself forward. Feet together, big toes touching, ankles touching. And then raise the hands up, sink the hips down into chair pose. Bring the hands down in front of you and then open up. I'll scoot away from this window. Open up with just that left arm. Try to keep the knees pointed forward. Follow that left hand back. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale. Sweep this arm by the hip. Come up, straighten the leg, back bend. And then exhale. Fold. Flush. Forget. We'll try again on the other side if you didn't quite get it. And then inhale, rise, sinking the hips down, bringing the arms up. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, bring the arms down in front of you. Inhale, open up. Take a breath here, really try to peel these arms apart. And then inhale, sweep this arm by the hip. Come up for a back bend, and then exhale. Dive forward, forward fold. Plant the hands, either jump or step back into high plank. Shift forward, lower down, chaturanga vinyasa, flipping the toes. High cobra, low cobra, or upward facing dog. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale for table posture. Bring the knees to the mat. Bring those knees to touch. Tuck the toes, sitting back on the heels. And try to balance on your toes. Knees parallel with the ground. Toes or heels should be stacked over the toes in this balancing toe pose. Use your hands, your fingers to balance if necessary. And when you've found your balance, bring your hands to heart center and slowly start to rise up, keeping the thighs together. Once you're standing and stable, raise the left knee, raise the left leg into a tree pose. Foot against the thigh or against the calf. Extend your arms in this tree. Since this was a New Year's flow last year, it works as a New Year's flow this year. We're growing our tree just like we grow our new opportunities for every year. And then same thing in the reverse. Bring the hands to heart center for balance. Extend the knee. Place the foot on the ground and slowly lower, lifting the heels off the ground, pressing the thighs together. If you're shaking, that's okay. Crack, crack, go my knees back into balancing toe pose, and then finally knees back to the ground, hands to the ground. Release the toes, sink the hips back into child's pose. Forehead rests on the ground or on something. If you need to pull the knees apart for that, that's fine. Once you catch your breath, let's do the same thing on the other side. We're all the way down here in child's pose. And we're going to grow all the way up into tree pose. After an exhale, inhale, peel yourself up off the ground. Bring the legs together, thighs together. Tuck the toes, sit back on the heels. Gather yourself, and then we'll go into that balancing toe pose. Heels stacked over the toes, staying nice and strong with the legs. Once you've found your balance, Hands at heart center, and then start to lift as fast as you need to. Plant the foot, grow up into your tree pose. Inhale, grow your branches, and then exhale. Hands back at heart center. Extend the leg, foot back on the ground. Lift the heels off the ground and slowly lower yourself back in that balancing toe pose. And then knees to the ground, hands on the ground into a neutral table posture. Press yourself back into downward facing dog. Lift the right leg for three-legged dog, and then exhale, tiger pose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, twisted tiger again. Bring the right knee to the left elbow. Inhale, three-legged dog, and then exhale. Step that through. Set yourself up like you would for warrior two. Be nice and strong in this stance here. Really going to need it. Work on that bind behind the back. Try to get your hand around your side like this, palm facing out. Come down like you would for extended side angle. Try to connect these hands behind you. If you've got your hands connected, great. If not, you can grab a belt, maybe hold the belt between each hand just to get something. So we're going to step this back foot to the front of our mat. Hip width apart. We're going to stay strong and straighten this left leg here as we rise up. We're just carrying the weight of this opposite leg, rising up into bird of paradise. Now, I don't have room to extend my right leg right now, but if you have room, you can extend this right leg, straighten it. I'm going to slowly lower back down because I'm losing my balance. Step back into that warrior two position, release. Bring your hands back down to the mat. Standing forward fold, collect yourself for a second. I'm going to back up away from this window so I have room on this next round. Recollect yourself. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale for a fold. Let's set ourselves up for that again. Take a step forward with the opposite side this time. Set yourself up like you would in that warrior two stance. Have this bind behind the back. If you can't quite get this bind, you can grab a belt or yoga strap if you have one. But we're going to reach under like you would for extended side angle. And you're going to connect these fingers. You're going to look to where you're going to step forward with this back leg. I'm going to step back a little bit. And then once we rise up, we're going to stay nice and strong in this right leg. And then we're just going to carry the weight of our left leg. Once you find your balance, stand nice and tall. In this bird of paradise, extend the leg. And then exhale. Back down. Step back. Release. Hands back down to the mat. Step into table posture, knees wide. Big toes to touch and sink the hips back for child's pose. Take some exhales through the mouth if you need to release some heat. Bird of Paradise is a pretty fun posture to get into. If you need more practice on it, if you want more practice on it, feel free to do so. If you want to take another round. But it's one that requires quite a bit of warming up in the right areas. All the balance work we've done, all the twists, all the opening our shoulders. Really need it for Bird of Paradise, for everything to go right. After your next exhale, inhale up into table posture. Step back into high plank. shift forward and lower yourself all the way down to the ground. Release the toes. If you have a blanket next to you and you want to use it, go ahead and grab it. We're going to go into Earth Huggers pose. So we're going to have our arms out. These cactus arms, our arms at a 90-degree angle away from the body. Going to bend one leg, place it on your blanket if you like, or just on the ground is fine. Really opening up this hip and surrendering your weight to the earth. This Earth Huggers pose. Some modifications you can take. You can move this knee closer to the armpit or farther away, or just leave it at neutral wherever you like to keep it. Also, this opposite arm, you can straighten it if you like. Palm facing up, down by the side body. And we'll take several breaths here as we begin to wind down this practice. You can take some exhales through the mouth if you like. If you have your arm straightened down by the side body, replace it back to that cactus arm variation. You're going to lift your heart, your chin, just like you would sort of for a low cobra. You're going to take this opposite arm, this right arm, thread it through under this opposite arm, and then open yourself up. Make sure I don't squash my mic here. Open yourself up into this sort of supine knee twist. If you like to keep some more pressure on this knee, you can take a hand and just lean it against it. Don't have to crank it over. Some nice deep breaths here. Won't be here nearly as long in this twist. Inhale and exhale. Return the arms, bend at this elbow, and just bring this hand across the chest, down the arm until the palms stack, and then turning back over onto the belly, cactus arms, and then straighten the left leg. Carry your blanket over to the other side if you need it, or whatever you're using, and bend the opposite leg. Earth Huggers pose, right knee bent. I'm going to straighten this arm down by the side body, palm facing up. Remember your modifications. You can move this knee further down, further up, wherever you like it. And we'll take several breaths here on the opposite side. After your next exhale, inhale, replace the arm if you've taken that modification. Lift the heart like you would for low cobra, and then thread that needle with the opposite side. Stacking the palms, and then as you scrape your right palm across your body, open yourself up for that supine twist. Now you can take this hand and just put a little pressure on this leg. Feeling the stretch here in the glutes, a little bit in the side body. As we twist, we wring ourselves out from this practice. Begin to unwind from this twist, bending at the elbow. Return the opposite arm out to a T, and then sliding the palm across the body until the palms stack. Come back out of this threaded needle, straightening the legs, laying flat on the ground here. Shoelace side of the foot on the ground, legs together. Extend the right arm out to a T, bending the left leg, and then open yourself up for this Lord Vishnu's or cricket pose. Chin falls towards the chest a bit. If you'd like to modify this right arm, you can extend it overhead and sort of use your arm as a pillow if there's too much pressure on your arm that way. As long as you're getting this stretch, bring the foot behind the back of this other knee. Some pressure in the glutes here to press the hips forward. And then unwind, bring the knee back down to the mat. Bring the opposite arm out to a T. Bending the right leg and then opening up. Foot behind the back of the knee. You can open up, take a bind if you like. You can just keep this arm out in front of you. You can take any other position with the arm you're resting on if you like. A little bit of pressure in the glutes to send the hips forward. Chin falls towards the chest. The shoulder you're laying on, try to extend that arm overhead and then roll yourself onto your back. Once you're comfortable here on your back, bring the feet off the ground, bring the knees to the chest. Give yourself a big knee hug. You can rock side to side, front to back. Be playful here, rolling up and down the spine. You can release the knees, massage the lower back into the ground. When you're satisfied, replace the feet back onto the ground. Press yourself up into a bridge with your heels pretty close to your glutes. Inhale for bridge. And exhale down. Readjust yourself if you need to. Make sure the palms are on the ground. Inhale for bridge. And exhale down. Feel the openness in the heart space. Inhale, bridge once more. And then like a leaf in the wind, sway your hips left, right, until you come to a rest on the ground. Extend the left leg. Place the left ankle over the right knee. Bring the arms out to a T, and then let the feet fall to the right side. Sole of the left foot on the ground. Outside of the right foot on the ground. You can let this knee fall towards the armpit. You can pry it away from the armpit, putting more pressure into the glutes. You can just keep it neutral. Find whatever modification is right for you. We'll be here for just a couple breaths.
After an exhale, inhale, float the knees up, and then exhale, take that twist to the opposite side. After an exhale, inhale back up, extend the left leg, and then set the sole of the foot on the ground. Extending the opposite leg, the right, take the right ankle, fold it over the left knee. Shift your hips to one side if you like, and then take that twist. Let the sole of the right foot come to the ground. Outer edge of the left ankle on the ground. The knee can either fall towards you, fall towards the armpit, or you can use some pressure to pry it away from the body. Whatever's comfortable for you here. Arms can be out to a T. Chin can fall towards the opposite shoulder. Chin can stay neutral. If you're a side body stretch lover, you can extend the right arm overhead, or you can just stay neutral. After an exhale, inhale, float the knees to center, and then exhale, drop to the other side, taking that twist. After your next exhale, inhale, float back to center, extend the right leg, and then set the sole of the right foot on the ground. Bring the hands down by the side, palm facing up. Let there be some space between the side body and the arms. Extend the feet forward. Let the feet fall to either side. Begin to really relax the body. Relaxing the toes, the feet, the ankles. Let the heels fall heavy. Let the back of the calves rest heavy against the earth. Back of the thighs. Let the butt fall heavy against the earth. Surrender the weight of the shoulders, back of the arm, lower arm, back of the hand. Sense the air passing through the fingers. Surrender the weight of the head to the earth. Let the tongue fall back into the lower palate. The eyes roll back into their orbits, and imagine your brain sliding to the back of your skull. Nothing left to do, nowhere else to be. you'd like to remain in your Shavasana for longer, you're more than welcome to do so. If you're following along, release any thoughts you might have had. Return to the breath. Fulfilling inhales, easy exhales. Start to bring awareness back to your body. Start thinking of the toes, of the fingers. Invite some small movements. Wiggle the toes, fingers. I like to touch my thumb to each fingertip. Roll the ankles, roll the wrists. Eventually your movements will grow. You extend the arms overhead. Point the toes for a nice full body stretch. Bend one knee, place the sole of the foot on the ground. And when you're ready, press off that leg, press off that foot, and roll onto your side into a nice fetal posture, a posture that allows our body to catch up, allows our nervous system to recuperate from being nice and relaxed in Shavasana. And eventually, we're going to press ourselves up to an easy cross-legged seated position. Once you're ready, press yourself up nice and slow. Come into that Sukhasana, that easy seat. Walk the hips back. Cross at the ankles, nice tall spine, open heart. Hands resting on the legs. Thank you so much for joining me on this anniversary flow. I can't believe it's already been a year since I started my YouTube journey. I've successfully done one video a week for a little over a year now. Those that have been with me on this journey, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's take one last breath together to close out this flow. Then inhale, circle the arms up. Touch the palms overhead. Bring the hands down, thumbs to the third eye. May we think the right thoughts. Thumbs down to the mouth. May we speak the right words. Thumbs down, hands to heart center. May our thoughts, our words, our actions be true and kind. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste.